This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Mem Gimel, and as we wrap up this month of Teves, we like to once final time dedicate all the learning for this month as an incredible schos aliyas neshama for Rav Aryeh and Rav Ya'akov Siyata Dishmaya. We can only fathom the incredible infinite schosim, the incredible elevated place in Gan Eden Shalmayla. As Rav Aryeh and Yaakov's neshama is continuously elevated through every word of Torah, Talmud Torah keneged kulam, Dafei Gemara, b'siyata d'shmaya, closer to the Kisei HaKavod. And finally, we like as well the learning to be a zchos refuah shlema for Tinaik ben Miriam Ahuva, b'seich sha'ar chayli Yisrael. We're only on the bottom of Membeis. We began the sixth parak yesterday. The Gemara is in the middle of discussing that the place in which the person was done skila to, the mountain that he was thrown off, was outside all shalosh machanais, all three camps. Rabba Amar, and we had long and lengthy braisais on this Amud Beis to prove that point. Comes along Rabba, and Rabba says, Moshe, Heiche have Yosef. Where was Moshe Rabbeinu? B'machane Leviyah. Moshe Rabbeinu was in the camp of the Leviyah. Va'amar le'rachmana, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Oitzias Makalel, take out the one that cursed the Makalel, Al michotz la'machane, outside of the camp, chotz la'machane Leviyah. Moshe obviously means that he has to be taken outside of where he is, which we just said was the Machane Leviyah. Continues the psukim v'yotzio as a mekalo michotz l'machane, and they removed him outside the camp, chotz l'machane Yisrael. The extra mentioning the fact that Torah doubles it down shows us it's not only Machane Leviyah where Moshe was, it's even Machane Yisrael, and that's how we see that one who is chayiv skila has to be brought out outside all shalosh machanes. Says the Gemara, 1 second, the second pasuk that we just quoted is needed to teach us that they went and they actually did it. V'yotziu as a makalel is the action that happened. You can't learn out an extra time of taking him out because that the Torah is telling us the story that they executed, that they stoned him. Answers the Gemara, no. Asiya behedya ksiva. The asiya, the fact they did such, was written explicitly later on. That the pasuk says, we turn over to Mem Gimel and Aleph and Yisrael Asu Kasher Tziva Hashem as Moshe, as the pasuk tells us that Klal Yisrael did precisely as Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu. So the extra mentioning is there to teach us that indeed it was the taken out of all shalosh machanes. Continues the Gemara on the second line of Mem Gimel Amud Beis, Alameata, based on that which you are saying, Vayirgumu Isai Evan. The pasuk says, and they stoned him with a stone. My over there, what do you do with that pasuk? For the following price, Vayirgumu Isai Evan, Isai. Vayirgumu Isai be'Evan. Isai v'loy b'chsusai. Him and not his clothing. Evan she'im meis be'Evan achas yoitza. We are yoitza. So two extra dinim that it teaches us. Number one, that the person is not dressed at the time of the stoning, and number two, that one Evan could do enough of the skill if the person dies. Continues the Gemara, Vitzach lemechtav Evan, Vitzach lemechtav Avanim, had a right ball, because Rachmana Evan Ava Amina. I would have thought Echad Lamis Bechada, Loniti Achrita Mekatzli. Maybe you get one chance, and if he doesn't die with one stone, do not bring him other stones, and maybe let him live. Kasav Rachmana Avanim. Because Rachmana Avanim Avamina would have thought, Mekar Nesi Tarte. No, so start off with multiple stones, because Rachmana Evan to teach us that no, it is the singular stone. Continues the Gemara, 1 second. Vaitana, V'ho Haitana Nemar, Kamar, 2 lines on the wide lines. Ask the Gemara that when it says Chutz Lamachaneh, it says Otzil Chutz Lamachaneh. We learn from here Gzeira Shava. So why do we need another Mikar? Ilo Nemar Kamar. It means to say if we didn't have the aforementioned Gzeira Shava, then we would learn it from here. Ilo Nemar Kra Yisi Omer. If we didn't have a pasuk, it would have said Hayisi Omer Gzeira Shava. Shenemar Kra. Now that we have a pasuk, moving over to the first wide line, Gzeira Shava Lo Yitzarach. You do not need the Gzeira Shava. And the third Mikar says the Gemara to teach us that the stoning is outside all 3 machanos. Rav Ashi, Amar Moshe Echa v'Yosef v'machana Levia. V'Amar Rachman Otzias v'Mekal Chutz l'machana Levia. Al michutz l'machana Chutz l'machana Yisrael v'Yotzias v'Mekal El Asiyah. That's usually did. Asiyah behed Yiksev v'Hu b'nei Yisrael also Keshetzi v'Shem as Moshe. Homi Baile for what? Chal Misv'Chei v'Chal D'Chuye. The extra pasuk over there is needed is one chad l'smicha that you have to do leaning, and chad l'tchiyasa to push him. Both are necessary. They leaned upon him and they pushed him off the mountain. Amru lei Rabbanan the Rav Ashi, they asked Rav Ashi, L'ida kolani oitzi d'chsev v'parim hanisravim ma'idar shibei. Ayin sham in essays Gemara. What do we do to all those extra? Drasha says Gemara Kasha. That is indeed a question according to the Shita. We pick it up from Echad Oimer. Echad Oimer, excuse me. One is standing at the door with the flags in case there's someone that wants to bring out a new reason to be mechayiv. Zakehim. Says the Gemara, the 2 dots, 8 lines down. Amar Avuna Pshitli, the following is pushed. Echad Evan Sheniskal Ba. The stone that he stoned with, the wood that he's hung on, but this sword he's killed with, and the handkerchief that he's choked with, Kulan, Mishal Sibur. All these items are Mishal Sibur. They're purchased with public money, not with one that's Chayav Misa's own money. My time. The reason is because we will not tell someone to take out of his own, go bring something to kill yourself. That cannot be. So says the Gemara, must be comes from the Tzibor's money. On this point, Bayi Ravuna. Sudar shamanifin by v'sus sharatz mamidin mishalmi. The sudar that they wave with, if they were to find extra zchuyos for this person, they're not going to kill him. Or the horse that they run with, who pays for that? Kivin da'atzal d-day, it's saving his own life in d-day. Who? No, this is a function of Bezdin. And furthermore, says the Gemara, someone's being taken out, 2 killed. They make him drink a grain of levina mixed with wine. Why? To dull his senses, a form of anesthetic. Says the Gemara, Shenamar says, the precious woman Yishalayim, is Navdos, maybe Yosef's son. Lois Navdu, Nashim Yikarais. Mishal mi havadim istavra, says Gemara, Mishal si ibor kimel sebuhu tinu miditu, that it comes from the tzibur, these items to give him to drink, etc., before he is pushed off the cliff. Says the Gemara, before we get to the new Mishnah, the Gemara has a shaylo. Someone, the Talmidim said, I have a reason for a zechos and ishtatek, and then he became a mute, he wasn't able to talk. Mao, do we say the fact that he came forward is enough of a reason or not? Menafeach, Rav Sheshes biyadei, Rav Sheshes blew in his hand, nishtatek, as if to say he's quiet. Afilu echad b'seifa aylam nami. He said, why should we always say that? Maybe there's an aid, just because this guy said there's something, so why are we always going to give him a credibility? Says Marasam loy kamar, my Tashima, Damar Vizrachanina Echem Talmidim, Shazika Umeis, Rainas Akilu Chai, Vaim Mekay, my Zika, and Lizika Lai, says the Gemara, Zika Pshitali, Amar tibayi l'cha. Says no, it's just teaching us a chiddush. If he actually was mizaka, if he's zika, if he says the reason, then of course we listen to him. Omar tibayi, if he said that he has something to say, if he didn't actually give the argument, that is the chiddush. Afilu v'chulu. The next part of the Mishnah concluded, even if I have nothing for my own, they bring you back to hear the argument. Vafilu bam rishayna shniya. I've a tani bam rishayna shniya bein cheish b'mash l'var bein sheina mash l'var machzirna. So whether he's saying something incredible, sensible, or now we're bringing back to Bezin. Mikan veilch after 2 times, then mish mash l'var machzirna say mash l'var machzirna say. So Amar Papa explains tergma mipam shniya veilach. The second time in onward, no yadi Amar Abaye the masterin non lay zuga dirabanan. Tika mamshe the varavini lo lo v'lim salei meikara agav debayis lamati Amar call my this way because it's fair. You won't be able to say whatever needs to be said. And for there we segue quickly into the next Mishnah, continuing detailing the process of the skila of the execution. Matzulay schos patru off. They find the schos that he's pater. Vim lav yatzei liskol. Ukroz yaitz lefanav, and there's a scream that comes in front of him. Vishlein mem bloody yaitz liskol. Ow! She'avar aveira pliny zupliny upliny edav chamisha yidelo schos yavav yilamid alav. They would announce this person is being pulled out to be stoned because this is what he did. If anyone knows anything, let him come and give the schos now. Continues the Gemara Amar Abaye. An integral detail that has to be added on says Abaye v'tzarich l'mimber b'yoyim b'leini b'shas b'leini b'makam b'leini. Don't just announce what happened, rather say it was on this date and this location and at this time. Why do you say that? Because maybe there could be Eidei Azama as well. Maybe one will know, wait, it can't be that Eidim testified for such because Imanu Ayisem. They only can know that if they know exactly when the crime was said to have happened. Ukroz yaitz lefanav, and the proclamation go out, says Gemara lefanav in meikar loy. Meikar lefanav means as he's being brought out to be executed, but not days in advance of such. Ask the Gemara ve'atanya, but we learned in a brayso ve'atanya. We learned in a brayso b'erev Pesach tilvahu. Says the Gemara ve'atanya b'erev Pesach tilvahu. Lishav akroz yaitz lefanim em yoim kaidim shu yaitz liskol ach shekishiyef he says v'diach is Israel komi sheished yedel of schos yavu v'lamid lov lo matzlo schos tolo ber Pesach. So we see it's even days before. Amar ulav v'tizbra bar afuchi schosu meisesu. Rachmana Amar lo sach v'lo schazolov elashayni yishai tekarov lemalchos. The famous Gemara of Yeshu. Why? Because he's karov lemalchos. And what's interesting, if you're following along in different Gemaras, some Gemaras have censored out this part. We'll just read it quickly. Tanar Rabbanan says Gemara Chamish Shatim Ayuli Yeshai Masai Nakav Natzar Abayni V'Saida Asyo Lemasai. Amrlu Masay Yarag, Ogsim Masay Avaver, Bnei Alekim, Amrloi in Yas Masay Yarag, the same Masay Amos Vavat Shemay Asiol in Akai, Amrlu, Naki Yarog, Ogsim, in Agi Vitali Gadarog, Amrloi in Agi Yarog. Dirsev, Mastarim Yarog, Naki, Asiol in Esar, Amrlu Neser Yarig, Fogsev, and Esar Mishav Yibara. Amrle in yes, not sir harag. To say about him, Mishachta Mikav Mikvarcha Kinatzar Nitaiv Etiyahu Lebainu. Amrlo Baini Harag. Oksay Bini Bachar Yisrael. Amrle in Bini Baini Harag. To say Bini Anachi Harag has been Chabi Krecha Etiyahu Letaida. Amrlo Taida Yarag. Oksay Mizul Saida. Amrle in yes Taida Harag. Zisliv Zeveach Taida Yechavdini. And we move quickly on to Memgilum and Beis. Says the Gemara that what happens before the execution happens? We give the person to do tshuva. On the topic of tshuva, Amar, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi comes along. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, on the top line of Memgilum and Beis, says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Kol hazavech es yisra mizvad alav. Anyone who shechses eats a hara and is misvada, he confesses. It's as if he was what? He was kibed. LaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's honored. Hashem, LaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'shnei Oilamim. Ha'olam hazeh v'olam haba. L'chsev zvech tadei chavdeini. V'amar Yeshua ben Levi. בזמן שבית המקדש קיים עוד מעכב לילה, שכר לילה ביד, he gets an oila. Mincha schar mincha biyad. Avo mi she'daita shveila. If you have a low to ask, what is humility? What does it mean to feel low, to feel bad? Not only that, and after that segue into the milos of tshuva, says the Gemara, moving along to the Mishnah, about 12 lines down, Gimel and Beis, and continuing the execution procedure. Hayarachayk mi beis askila kasher amos yitan amos away. Omer lo they tell misvada. Washkin derech. Kol amumsim misvadim. Anyone who's going to be killed says vidu confesses kol misvadi yish chalil mahava. Shkein metzina ba'achad shem lo Yeshua. Yeshua said to Acham and Isim nach kavay la Hashem lo keIsrael. Tell no itayda v'ya and Acham. I see Yeshua v'yamer. Omna anoichi chadazi chazos chazos. Menayin sheichapel henu had a kapara v'yudov sheneamar v'yemishua makarteni archa Hashem b'yamazeh b'yamazeh ta'achar. Only now you are dirty. V'yata'achar la'ilam habam. Let's say the person Pasha does not know how to say Vidui Amrullah. They tell him Amar Tim Misasi Kapar Kavanase my death. Shabia Kapar Rav Yehuda Amar my Yodea Shum Zuman. Amar Tim Misasi Kapar Al Avoy Noisav. If he knows, it says Rav Yehuda that he was innocent and it's mezumam, he should say, "Let my death be an atonement for the rest of my averos." Chutz be'avain zeh amarlayim keni yekol adamayim keni k'dilanakis. That's why anyone's going to say this to clear himself. The people think, "Oh, must be he was innocent." So look good in the public. Says the Gemara, going a little bit deeper into the Maisa with Achan Tanarabhan. No, says the pasuk. Yeshua said the words, "No, please." Asking Achan to do vidoy. Ein no l'shabakasha. Shashamar Kadosh Baruch Hu Yeshua Ched Yisrael Omer Levan Rebbeinu Shalai Lamichat Usin Omer Le Chidelter Ani Lecha. Hashem responds back, "Am I a talebearer? Leich go Habel Garola Yisachavil Begarolas. He made a raffle. V'nafal Garol Alachan Omer Le Yeshua Begarol Ataba Alai Omer Le Yeshua Omer Le." When Achan saw, he says, Yeshua, you came to criminate me on the basis of a gyral, of a lottery. I'll tell you that no. If they make a lottery, it's going to fall on one of you. Does that mean you're guilty? Of course not. Yeshua said, please. Al toiti laz al gairola. She see Eretz Yisrael. She's chalik with gairol. No, gairol's a real thing. A gairol is a way of Hashem talking to us. Eretz Yisrael is going to be divided via gairol. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, ach begairol yechalik is aris 10 toida, and therefore don't cause question into the gairol. Says Yehoy Shua. Continues the Gemara. Amra Avina shachoide b'milei. Says Ravina Yeshua bribed Achan with sweet words. Meaning, what is he saying? Kolom, asking anything more that you admit. Tell me the title of potter. Confess and be potter. Miyad v'yan achan is Yeshua v'yemer amana anoichi. And he says, amana and shu the chatasi la Hashem elokei Yisrael. Chazaisu chazais asisi. He got him to do a real tshuva vidoy before he was killed. Amar Ravasi, Amar Chalina Malamid Shamal, Achan b'sheish Aramim from the aforementioned pasuk. We said Achan was ma'al in 3 charamim, in 3 different bands. Shnayim on the first wide line, Shnayim b'mei Moshe, v'Achan b'mei Yeshua, Shnamar, Kazaz Chazaz Asisi, v'Yechan Amar Mishav Laz Rav Shimon Chamisha, Arba b'mei Moshe, v'Achan b'mei Yeshua, Shemanochi Chatasi Chazaz Asisi Ad Ashta, but Ashta Maitem Liyana, Shamar Yechan Mishav Laz Rav Shimon. Why was he not punished till now? If he shloi anash al nistaris that she'avdu is Yisrael as a yard, it's only time they're punished for the sins. Kidanai nistaris shem lekenu I know son of lenu adoy lam lama nokat al venenu al ayin shebaad oilam lamich go anash al nistaris. You're not einish on the hidden things that she'avru Yisrael as a yard never Yehuda. Only of the Chanuchi and Ashal and the stars La'ilam. Falakran Emra Ad Ilam, Elikshim Shal Anash al stars, Kakla Anash al Ainshim, Shevagali Ashavi Yisrael as the Yardain. Lamaisa Tal Kaiso went over the Yardain. Ella, we turn over to Memdel and Alf. We don't have it in front of us. Acham, my time, you understand why was Achan punished? Because the Achan's wife and children knew, and therefore it's not considered a concealed Avera, it was a public Avera. That is why everyone had to suffer. We'll pick it up from here. B'siyata Dishmaya.